All right, next progress report. So next I wanted to create some sort of security between the devices talking to my website and the actual website itself, because at the moment, basically I can create and add any device that I wanted, and it can just start spewing data into the website. And this is a security flaw because none of the devices are actually authenticated, so I can create as many as I want, and yeah, I can just keep going. So someone could definitely just start spoofing devices and just make a million of them, and then the next thing I know, my server dies because it just ran out of memory, or just I'm getting basically a what's it called, a denial of service, similar to a denial of service. So someone just keeps sending so much data so fast that no other device can actually send data. So I was reading up on device authentication. So there's basically two things that really people care about: is authentication, that's basically login credentials, so like login and username and password. Authorization is different than authentication because this is like the level of privileges that a user or device has. So read-write privilege is basically what it is. There are generally five different most common methods of protecting or of authenticating a user. It starts with email authentication, so it just sends an email to confirm that the user is a human and is indeed a valid user. There's also password authentication. This is probably the one that we see the most, is just username and password. Social media authentication, this is one's relatively new. Sometimes you'll see a website that'll ask you, well, for example, I use Strava a lot, so if I go to Strava and I wanted to log into Strava, I actually sign in with Google, and that's social media, an example of social media authentication. Biometrics, this is, of course, awesome and probably one of the best ways, but also very, very expensive in terms of equipment cost and human cost, because getting the human authenticated. My phone, for example, has biometric authentication. I have a little thumb a fingerprint sensor on the back, and it's awesome though when it works, because no one else can unlock my phone, and it's really fast because I just put my finger on there, and in like half a second or so, however long the debounce is, I can unlock my phone. So that's my favorite, but it's just expensive. There's also two-factor authentication, which is really popular. So this is almost always used as an optional for most websites, but I actually enforce it wherever I can. So for example, for my Gmail or my Slack, I have a Google Authenticator. So the idea with two-factor authentication is that you have two things. You have one that is known, so that's my password, and then something that I have, which is my phone with the Google Authenticator, and that thing that I have should generally be encrypted or have some sort of safety in place. So the Google Authenticator generates there we go. It generates a number every X number of seconds or so. So, and that's number one. That number I think is like a one-time use. So if you mess up, if you use it once, you can never use it again. Unfortunately, I'm actually trying to authenticate devices, so I can sort of use a mix between kind of like email authentication, but not really email authentication. So I have to do a kind of like a handshake method between my device and my website. So I created a little design page here of what I'm going to be doing for the next couple of weeks. So basically, whenever a new device is created, it has three states before it can actually start. It has two states before it can start running it. Run state, it's actually sending data. But what it'll do is that when it powers up or turns on or whatever, it'll request to communicate to the server. So he knows where this website is. It's hard-coded in part of his code. But he'll say, hey, can I communicate with you? What the website's going to do is he either has a whitelist of device IDs So there's kind of two ways that this can be done. One way is he has like a whitelist of device IDs, and this device will have a unique ID. And when he sends the request, he'll send it to the website. The website basically checks this list, sees, oh yeah, okay, you're on the list. You're allowed to communicate now. So he sends a back message saying that. If he's not on the whitelist, he could just never basically send the message back. And when it's checking for the whitelist here, it's going to add it to a database of active devices. So for all the future communication from that device, it'll be known as active. So he's ready. He can receive data and stuff. So once the device is told that hey, you're allowed to communicate, the device basically says, okay, here I come. I'm gonna start communicating soon. Is it okay? And at this point, the database or website can get ready. He can do whatever he needs to do, allocate resources, blah, whatever. I don't think I'll have to do anything in this step, but I found I was reading up some designs of like IoT devices that this is actually like a really good step to have, because sometimes your website's just not ready, or sometimes you don't have the right resources. So this will allow some time. The website can take however much time as it needs, or the web service can take however much time as it needs to prepare. So then once he's ready, he can just say, all right, go for it. And at this point, the device will go into run, and it'll just shoot data. And at any point, the website can say stop. So that's what I'll be implementing. Oh, sorry. Let me go back to this. So I'm not going to actually bake in a number into the devices. What I'm going to do instead is this is going to be like a human authentication. So when the device requests to communicate from the website, and the website sees that the device is not on the whitelist yet, he's going to send me an email saying, hey, this guy wants to communicate. Is that okay? And I'm going to somehow reply, yes, it's okay. Put him on your whitelist. And so that's what I'll do. That part should be pretty interesting. And yeah, that's about it. So the next update, hopefully I'll have some of this implemented. Thanks.